Hey, welcome back. It's Becky with Homeschooling with Secret Sauce, and we are continuing to talk about making homeschool fun with an amazing National Geographic magazine that's currently on sale, or a photo journal of the national parks around the United States, and how to turn that into secret sauce for making homeschool fun. If you haven't seen the other videos, the first one was step 1 of how you fall in love with the magazine. Step 2 was an idea of how you can infuse math once you've captured your kids' attention. In this video, we're going to talk about words. We're going to talk about language. I accidentally fell in love with this magazine. I thought it would just be a fun thing to flip through during a sporting event that we were traveling for our youngest son, and I found myself reading the magazine early in the morning while everybody else was sleeping, and I was very aware of the words that were chosen. Carefully chosen adjectives and descriptive phrases that, if the pictures weren't there, really helped bring these things to life. They were stark salt pans sprawling for miles, and the story, the planets coming alive, and it's just amazing vocabulary. I should have marked them so that I could have shown you some things. But so take this one for instance. Look at this beautiful national park. I would love to just sip on something wonderful and watch the sunset. Isn't it glorious? So here we have an Eastern Coast and Forest Park. And as I look at the words that are chosen, after your kids have fallen in love with the pictures and decided which one they would like to go visit first, either in real life or as a goal for the future, now you dive in and you start reading the descriptions together and really falling into the words, seeing if you can capture the words and ideas that describe this area on our amazing planet. So we have, mangrove forests, gentle peaks, humid valleys, ancient, northward flowing, edged by deep canyon walls, a refuge for adventurers, solitudes, people that are looking for solitude, so solitude seekers, proximity to cities, etc. And the vocabulary, the words are so carefully chosen to bring these places to life. They are amazing. And one of the things that you can do is identify a place. This one is broken into regions. So we have the Eastern Coast, the Central Plains, the Desert Southwest, the Pacific Northwest, that's where I live right now, and Alaska, Hawaii, and Pacific parks. And you can take the region and you can create a secret sauce word web where you put national park regions, and then you pick a region like the deserts or Alaska, etc., or the Pacific Northwest. And then you go and you look at the parks in that region, one a day. You don't do all of them in a day. You pick the one that the kids are most drawn to, and you read for descriptive language. How do they describe, for instance, the Pacific Northwest, where I live, and it's gorgeous up here. You know you're a Washingtonian? Yes, it's very cloudy where I live. It's very rainy. I live on the wet side of Washington. But you know you're a Washingtonian if even when the cloud cover is really thick, you can point to 2 volcanoes. That's right. We've got Mount Rainier and we've got Mount Baker within eyesight. Okay, so you go to the Pacific Northwest and you simply scan looking for descriptive language. So we have snow-capped volcanic peaks, glistening sand dunes, moss-covered rainforests, magical coastal tide pools the size of a kitchen sink, yet brimming with twitching, colorful creatures. How cool is that? twitching, colorful creatures. Twitching, meaning active, alive, vibrant. The land of extremes. The largest tree, the General Sherman, which I talked about in the last video, where we accidentally didn't see the fences and got to touch and hug the General Sherman. You'll have to watch the video to see how do you accidentally not see the fence. The country's wettest forest. Seriously? Yeah, it rains a lot here, but the Hoh rainforest, which is 2 hours away from here, they get a lot of rain, a boatload of rain. Let's listen to this. Active steam vents, bubbling mud pots, boiling springs. So the idea is to grab vocabulary. Every single area in life has its own set of vocabulary. Whether you're talking about anatomy, hair, sewing, driving, painting, building, cooking, cleaning, everything has its own set of vocabulary. The point of teaching words is not that they spell them correctly and can define the words. The point of teaching words, vocabulary, is to help people clearly communicate and to bring ideas to life in a much more vibrant, active way. And a resource like this, where you're looking at, well, how do you describe a mountain? So this says the rippling mountain lake reflects Mount Rainier and hikers. The rippling mountain lake. Look at that. And now look at the picture. Do you see the ripples on the lake? Yep, I know. You want to put on shoes and go hiking because you want to see that Mount Rainier too. It's stunning. Oh my goodness, so pretty. So you do word webs. From there, you can go in a bunch of directions. You can leave it just right there. You can study one region at a time. So over the course of 5 weeks, you could study all the different regions that the national parks are in this magazine alone. And you can come up with these amazing word webs. Then you can come up with challenges. How can you use the rippling mountain lake reflects? So how can you use those words in another context? So the rippling bathwater, the rippling pond, just you take the language and then you repurpose it in another direction. So vocabulary grab. The next thing that you can do is once you've studied all the different regions, you can take them into the backyard or the front yard or to your favorite place, and you can start comparing and contrasting where you live to their favorite region. How are we the same? How are we different? Comparing, contrasting. You don't have to write it down. You can just talk about it. So you compare and contrast where you live. Then you take out your word web and you say, what kinds of adjectives from our word web would we use to describe where we live, right? I live in a place where there are towering trees and mysterious mists and intensely never-ending drip and drizzle of water from the sky. So where do you live? So you can use these vocabulary pulls to start putting the words to describe something that they're very familiar with. Then you can take it and you can turn it into a writing assignment. Oh, please don't use the word assignment. Make it a writing game. Maybe you can even submit the writing sample to National Geographic just for fun to see if they'll even respond back to you. Take pictures of your backyard or your favorite place, and then you spread out your brainstormed or your word webs of all the national parks that you've studied so far together. And you create a massive word web, like this, of your own favorite place, your backyard. And then you pick up the pencil and you have the kids describe it to you and you write down what they say. Oh, and your kids are amazing. Once you give them all that detail and all those words and all those ideas, and they're already excited about the places that they've seen, the ideas will roll off their tongue and you capture it on paper. Is this what you said? Did you want to add anything? Oh, this one's missing some description. How could we make it bigger? How can we make it so that you can see it, touch it, feel it, smell it? And then you write it out. And then you can perfect it. You go back, you can edit it the next day or the next week. Hey, remember that description that I wrote down as you were talking about our backyard? let's put it on the computer and let's spell check it and let's get it all set. Let's send it to National Geographic and see if they like it enough to respond back to us. Well, they might not, but they might, and that's super fun when magazines respond back. And in today's day and age, I'm guessing that somebody would respond back because kids just don't do that kind of stuff anymore. So, vocabulary and creative writing. In the next video, I'm going to give you 2 resources of people that I know that have extensions that will help bring this to a more, they'll just help extend it in a different way. So if you want to continue down the academic road while you're studying and falling in love with national parks, you're not going to want to miss these. So I'll see you in the next one.